Please be seated. The court is now in session. Today, the chamber hears testimony of a witness through TCW 1042 in relation to the methodology on the drawing up of a new list of I-21 detainees, which was prepared by the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges. Ms. Jie Si-Huang, please report the attendance of the parties and other individuals to today's proceedings. Mr. President, for today's proceedings, all parties to this case are present. Mr. Nguyen Chia is present in the holding cell downstairs. He has waived his rights to be present in the courtroom. The waiver has been delivered to the greffier. The witness who is to testify today, that is to TCW 1042, confirms that through her best knowledge, she has no relationship by blood or by law to any of the two accused, that is Nguyen Chia and Khieu Sampon, or to any of the civil parties admitted in this case. The witness took an oath before the Iron Club statute on the 15th of December 2016. The witness and the OCIJ legal officer are ready to be called by the chamber in the waiting room. Thank you. President, thank you, Mr. Jie Si-Huang. The chamber now decides on the request by Nguyen Chia. The chamber has received a waiver from Nguyen Chia, dated 9th January 2017, which states that due to his health, that is headache, back pain, he cannot sit or concentrate for long, and in order to effectively participate in future hearings, he requests to waive his rights to be present at the 9th January 2017 hearing. He advises that his counsel advised him about the consequence of this waiver, that in no way it can be construed as a waiver of his rights to be tried fairly or to challenge evidence presented to or admitted by this court at any time during this trial. Having seen the medical report of Nguyen Chia by the duty doctor for the accused at the ECCC, dated 9 January 2017, which notes that today Nguyen Chia has a constant lower back pain when he sits for long, and recommends that the chamber shall grant him his request so that he can follow the proceedings remotely from the holding cell downstairs. Based on the above information and pursuant to Rule 81.5 of the ECCC internal rules, the chamber grants Nguyen Chia his request to follow today's proceedings remotely from the holding cell downstairs via an audio-visual means. The chamber instructs the AV unit personnel to link the proceedings to the room downstairs so that Nguyen Chia can follow. That applies for the whole day. Court officer, please usher the witness and the legal officer from the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges into the courtroom. President. Good morning, Madam Witness. What is your name? Witness, good morning, Mr. President and Your Honors. My name is Hen Sotini. President, thank you, Madam Hen Sotini. And when were you born? Witness, I was born on 5th January 1984. Question, and where were you born? Answer, I was born in Sankat 3 in Phnom Penh. Question, where is your present address? Answer, I live in Bang Salang, Khan Tulkok, Phnom Penh. Question, what is your current occupation? Answer, I am a former analyst of the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges. At present, I do not work. Question, what are the names of your parents? Answer, my father is Han Sakom, he is deceased, and my mother is Pra Eng, she stays at home. Question, are you married? If so, what is your husband's name and how many children do you have? Answer, my husband is Long Bun Loj and we have a son. President, thank you. The greffier made an oral report that to your best knowledge and ability, you are not related by blood or by law to any of the two accused, that is Nuji and Keo Sampon, or any of the civil parties admitted in this case. Is the report correct? Answer, yes, that is correct, Mr. President. Question. Also, the greffier reported that due to an oath before the Iron Club State Tour on the 15th December 2016. Is that correct? Answer, yes, that is correct. President, the Chamber would like now to inform you of your rights and obligations as a witness. Madam Hen Sotini, as a witness, in the proceedings before the Chamber, you may refuse to respond to any question or to make any comment which may incriminate you. That is your right against self-incrimination and which may violate the conditions imposed by the co-investigating judges. That is E3443.1.1 and E3443.1.3. As for your obligations as a witness in the proceedings before the Chamber, you must respond to any questions by the bench or relevant parties, except your response or comments to those questions may incriminate you, as the Chamber has just informed you of your rights as a witness, or may violate the conditions imposed by the co-investigating judges, as I mentioned the document reference earlier. And you must tell the truth that you have known, heard, seen, remembered, experienced, or observed directly about the methodology used in the drawing up of the new list of detainees or victims at I-21. That is in relation to those questions put to you by the bench or the relevant parties. And Madam Hen Sotini, the International Co-Investigating Judge, imposed some questions in relation to your testimony in order to protect the ongoing investigation. Are you aware of that? Witness, yes, I do understand about those limitations. President, thank you. And I'd like to direct my questions to the legal officer of the OCIJ. And may I know your status, legal officer? Are you a madam or miss? And what is your function?
I'm Miss Priyanka Chirimar, and I'm here as a legal officer of the OCIJ.
Thank you. And may I ask again, are you married or are you single?
I apologize, Your Honor, I didn't quite follow your first question. I'm married.
Thank you. And I'd like to inform the parties and the general public that Ms. Priyanka Chirama, she is a legal officer of the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges, and she is sitting nearby the witness. She may object to any questions put to the witness that may have impact on the ongoing investigation. And she also understands about the conditions imposed by the International Co-Investigating Judge. And Madam Han Sotini, the Chamber received your request through Visu that you would like to use a computer during your testimony in order to refer to the list which exists in the Excel spreadsheet form, that is the list of 21 prisoners prepared by the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges. The Chamber heard the responses and observations from parties on the 15th of December 2016 regarding this matter, and no party objects to the use of the laptop. For that reason, the Chamber allows you to use the computer which is in front of you during your testimony, and the Chamber would like to clarify the following points. You may only use the computer to refer to true documents only. First, that is the Excel spreadsheet of the new list of detainees at I-21, which was prepared by the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges. And second, the Excel spreadsheet of documents that were used to draw up the new list of the I-21 prisoners. And these two Excel spreadsheets have been forwarded to the parties on Friday afternoon, that is the 6th of January 2017. And the two documents are also available on the desktop of the computer. And these two documents are E393.2 and E393.3. And in your response to questions that you need to refer to the Excel spreadsheet, please identify which column number that you refer to, so that the parties and the Chamber may follow you in your response. And also, please mention the document number in case 002, that is the E3 number of each document if you refer to. And pursuant to Rule 91B of the ECCC internal rules, in questioning this witness, the Chamber grants the floor first to the defense team for Nuon Chea to put questions. And the two defense teams have 2 court sessions to put questions to this witness. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, Counsel. Good morning, Madam Witness. I'll be asking you some questions this morning and also part of the second session. I would like to start with just very few questions concerning your background. Could you tell the Chamber what you studied and what your last degree is?
Allow me to respond. I concluded my law degree at Rule in 2006.
Thank you. Madam Witness, what were you, or what are your professional experiences before you were hired by the Office of the Co-Investigating Judge?
I worked as a staff at DC Camp, and I was part of the project which is known as the Accountability Project at DC Camp. And after that, rather as part of the project, I conducted research and interviewed former the survivors, in particular the former Khmer Rouge cadres throughout the country. And later on, I worked for the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges in the analysis team.
How long in total have you been working for DC Camp before you moved to OCIJ?
I started working for DC Camp since 2004, and I continued until 2012. And after that, I came to work at the OCIJ as an analyst consultant from 2014 to 2016.
And have you been hired by the OCIJ to work exclusively on the list that we will be discussing extensively today?
Throughout the process of drawing up a list of S21 prisoners at OCIJ, my main function was to work on the list, and I was an analyst consultant, and my work exclusively dealt with the drawing up of the list.
Is it correct if I say that your work for the OCIJ list is done exclusively in cases 3 and 4?
I worked on the S21 list. That's the only list that I worked on.
So you don't know if you're working in the cases 3 and 4? Ah. I see you had some discussion with the legal officer. Your work as an analyst, was that exclusively in cases 3 and 4?
After I had to consult with my legal officer, because in fact the list that I worked on was for cases 3 and 4, and that was the purpose I was hired to work for OCIJ, that is to work on the list and nothing else.
And would it be fair to say that you are exclusively answerable to the international co-investigating judge and not to the national?
I worked for the Office of the International Co-Investigating Judge.
Thank you. Now let me move to the methodology of the list. First, some general points. Can you tell us, can you tell the Chamber how many people worked with you on the list, or was it you exclusively who was busy compiling that list?
I worked on the list under the guideline of the team leader, that is Hiroto. He was the leader of the analysts during the times that I worked. And he was the one who was responsible for the compilations of those documents. So there were only two of us working on the list.
Indeed, that was my next question, and a witness. In a memo from the OCIJ, E393.1, a person called Hiroto Fujiwara is mentioned as the team leader of the analysts unit. Was he actively involved in the selection of documents, in the compiling of the list, or was his role a more supervisory role?
Mr. Hiroto Fujiwara was the one who gathered the documents, that is to gather the list of the documents from DCCAM or from to slide or from the case files where I did not have access to.
I will move to this shortly. One additional question about Mr. Fujiwara. Do you know his professional or academic, if any, background?
To my knowledge, when I came to work for the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges, and I learned that he was a team leader of the analysts, and that's all I know about him.
One last question about him. Do you know if he speaks or reads Khmer?
Through my contact with him, I learned that he does not know Khmer.
You briefly indicated this already, but if I may ask you to be a bit more extensive now, can you tell us where the documents that you have examined or selected, where they were coming from, where were they obtained?
Documents that I reviewed before I included them in the list were mainly from DCCAM and the Turslai Museum.
Are these the only two sources of origin of the documents that you examine?
In the list, these two sources were the main sources that I referred to.
Just to be 100% sure, you say main sources. This could imply that there are other sources than these two. But just to be 100% sure on this, as I said, the sole sources of the 13,383 documents were the archives of the Tuol Sleng Museum and DC Camp, correct?
Yes, that is correct. They are the sole sources.
Did you yourself go to Tuol Sleng or DC Camp, or did you just find those 13,383 documents either on your desk or digitally on your computer?
First, my team leader gave me the lists which he collected from the DC camera on a website. He got a list of documents, and then he sent that list to DC Cam to obtain some those documents. I examined each document from the list. These are the sources of documents that I examined. I was not able to go directly to the DC camp to collect all those documents. Some documents are already available in SMD. I am the one who examined the documents given by him. I examined only the list of the incoming prisoners, and I also went to Tuol Sleng Museum maybe in February and March to examine certain documents so that I could include in my list.
Did you or did Mr. Fujiwara physically take original documents to OCIJ either from DC Camp or from Tuol Sleng?
Generally, he was the team leader of the analysts, so his responsibility was to collect all documents, whether they are at DC Camp or Tuol Sleng Museum. He led the team, and he went with the team members. Again, he collected all documents for the team, so that I could examine all those documents.
I understand, but just to be very precise, you use the word collect. Does that simply mean digitally transferring documents from the DC Cam digital archives to OCIJ?
I do not know about this. It is his responsibility and the work he did.
Let me try one more time. Did you ever have physically in your hands original S21 documents?
Allow me to tell the chamber that I do not have the physical documents.
Thank you. Madam Witness, do you know, or has maybe Mr. Fujiwari told you at one point whether at Tool Slang or DC Chem some sort of register would be available that would allow your team to understand the chain of custody of these documents? Chain of custody is a legal term. You are a lawyer, maybe you are familiar with the words chain of custody. Let me explain. Was your team in a position to understand where DC Chem or Tool Slang subsequently had their documents from?
For me, I worked on the lists available in electronic form in the computer, and I do not know about the chain of custody. Based on my experience working on the lists, I could be able to know which documents were contemporaneous documents and which were not. Again, some documents were from Tool Slang and some other were from DC Chem. And if the documents were from Tool Slang, those documents were collected by staff of that Tool Slang, and some other documents were collected by staff members of the DC Chem.
Madam Witness, was there any sort of process within your team available to verify the authenticity of the documents? Or did you or the office assume that since these documents were coming from DC Chem or the Tool Slang archives, that therefore they must be authentic? In other words, how did you make sure that the document that you were analyzing was actually from S21?
Generally, we could identify some documents from S21 because S21 documents are available in certain form. I examined only the list of incoming prisoners, and those documents sometimes bear the signatures of those who obtained the list at the time. If you show me the list, I am able to explain you more easily.
I will get to specific documents shortly. But my question is, what was your team's proof that a document that you analyzed was actually from S21 and not just merely coming from DC Chem or Tool Slang? In other words, how did you verify that this was actually a contemporaneous document coming from S21?
For my team, my team members and my team leader collected documents, whether they were from S21 and from the DG camp. We were the one who collected those documents.
That is not completely answering my question, Madam Witness. My question is, you have a specific document in hand, it's a digital copy. What methodology was present? What did you do to establish that that particular document was in fact coming from S21? In other words, how did you exclude that not someone in 1979 forged a document, for instance?
Based on the experience I had from the DC camp, and with the experience at the OCIJ, I mainly focused on the lists of incoming prisoners. At S21, there was a letterhead and also columns and types. When I look at the document, I could know that document is from S21, and the document is usually is very old, and the form is comparatively different from the form used at the present time. So S21 documents use certain layout or format.
I understand that, and I'm not disputing the fact that quite some documents have a certain layout and use of typography, etc. But just one more time, and then I'll move on. How did your office exclude the possibility that what you were analyzing was in fact a document that was drafted before the 7th of January 1979?
Let me make a clarification. The list of documents do not exclude the documents after Khmer Rouge time.
But then what is your definition of a contemporaneous document?
Regarding the lists I examined, on the top of the page, it has the heading, for example, list of incoming prisoners. The lists I examined were lists of incoming prisoner, and they bear S21 logo. Some documents do not bear the S21 logo, but I could identify and establish that they were S21 documents by looking at the format and the signatures of those who signed.
Just trying to bring some order in here. Did you use any documents for the list that were created after 79? No matter by whom.
No.
So to be very clear, the only documents you used were such that were created between 75 and 79, no matter where you got them from.
Correct, Mr. President.
And the other question that still appears to be open, did your office or you do anything to check if the documents that you were analyzing were actually really created between 75 and 79? Or did you just take the list as it came?
I checked and examined all those documents before I included in my lists. The documents I included in my list were documents of the Khmer Rouge time from 1975 up to 1979, particularly the S21 documents.
But you came to this conclusion on the basis of the data on the document. You didn't do any forensic analysis of the documents. The question isn't clear. Let me repeat. When you said you only used documents created between 75 and 79, you are saying this because the dates on the document say 75 between 79. Is this correct? Or did you, or anybody of your team, take these documents, look at them, look at the paper, do anything else?
I only examined the documents, and based on the dates in those documents, for example, 1975 and 1979, I did not use any other methods to make the analysis, forensic analysis.
But what if I may follow up, what if there was no date on the document? Did you just assume that because you were requested to study it, it must be an S21 document?
I checked and examined all types of documents, the form, the format, the logo or typography, and the signatures of S21 staff members. And I also looked at the dates. There was a confusion if I only depended on the dates some documents confusingly put the date, the year 1979 again. I looked at the typography of the documents to make sure that they were Khmer Rouge documents, and some documents bear the signatures and the logo and names of those who received the documents.
How do you, Madam Witness, differentiate between a document from S21 and a document from, for instance, a division prison or a zone or district security center?
First, I look at the top page, the top of the page. I mainly dealt with a S21 list. There was a logo on the top saying that S21, and the heading says list of incoming prisoners and list of prisoners who were sent to some certain places. Number two, I worked on the lists from sectors, so I could make a differentiation between these documents.
Well, let's make it concrete then. Mr. President, with your leave, I would like to hand a binder that we have prepared for the witness with some documents, underlying documents, documents that we are also able to show on the screen. And while discussing these documents, I have some questions.
Yes, please proceed.
For the parties, my first example, Madam Witness, you will find that in your binder at number 1 are documents E3/9850, E3/2093, and E3/10416. Madam Witness, have you been able to find the examples? And maybe we can start by putting E3/9850 on the screen. For your background, Madam Witness, and then you will understand my question, we believe that these are documents or examples of documents without any S21 label or reference. So E3/9850 is now on the screen. Maybe we can start with that document. If I understood correctly from my Khmer colleagues, there is no reference to the letter and numbers S21 at all. How did you establish, for instance, that this particular document is in fact an S21 document?
Let me clarify that this is the documents from S21. This is the list of the incoming prisoner on a daily basis. Why I say that? because there is a column of alias in the current time in the list of documents. There is no column of alias, and there is also a column of original name. For the current formats, usually there is no column of alias, and there is a column of position. So I can establish that this is S21 documents because of the layouts, the format of the documents. There are many documents of this type in the lists, and those lists are lists of incoming prisoners.
But how did you exclude the possibility that there wasn't some other security center using the exact same format?
If it is difficult for me to respond to your question, since you do not show me the exact document you want to know. In reality, there are different formats compared to the formats used by S21.
Well, I used one example and I showed you E3/9850 doesn't have an S21 label, but you said because of the format, etc., it must be an S21 document. My question again, how did you exclude the possibility that there might have been another security center, maybe S22, S23, maybe somewhere in the province using the exact same layout?
Based on the experience, I worked on the S21 lists, particularly lists of incoming prisoners. I looked at the layouts or formats and types of the documents. For instance, Krang Tachan Security Office, those offices use different types of layout or format.
Well, let me move to another example. That is your example number 2 in your binder. Mr. President, this is E3/10,398. Madam Witness, this is a document also without any reference to S21, but with the label of the Lon Nol regime on it.
Can you put it on the screen?
Yes. E3/10398, a document without any S21 reference and with a reference to the former Lon Nol regime. It should be on the screen shortly. Here it is. Number 4 maybe in your binder. Maybe just have a look. There's some confusion as to the example number, and we will check that in the break, Madam Witness. But it is E3/10398. 10398, and we'll put it again on the screen. This is a document without any reference to S21, but with a reference to the Lon Nol regime. There we have it. My question is, how do you know that this is an S21 document?
Regarding this document, the year is 1977, the annual list of prisoners. It does not say the former Lon Nol soldiers.
Let me ask you, but let me ask, Madam Witness, how do you know that this is in fact an S21 document, E3/10398?
I think this is a report of the one who had the list. I did not use this document, and the names in this document are the names of prisoners at S21, because some of the names, I have seen some of the names in other lists. And this is a draft report before the one who got this document include all the names in the formal list. And this is a type of a handwritten document. The names of the people in this report also are also available in the list, in other lists that I checked.
Well, I'm not sure if I understood correctly everything you said, but you have used this particular document in your list, more specifically in your list number 1968, 1968. You use this particular document for a prisoner named Hing Sokom. So again, I'm still not sure if I understand. Why are you saying that this is an S21 document?
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know if Council gave her the OCIJ number reference. I may have missed it, but the OCIJ number for this person is 1968. And if you look there, you'll see that in addition to the document that Council is questioning her about, there are at least three other S21 records that are listed for that prisoner.
That might very well be the issue, and I did mention 1968 just now. My question is only about this document. Madam Witness, and the question remains, why did you use this document as a source for your list? Why is it an S21 document?
Please refer to the serial number in my list since I cannot locate it. President, the witness response is that she did not refer to these documents in her list, but in your case, your question put to her is that she referred to this document in her list. But the witness clearly states that she did not refer to this document in drawing up her list. So it seems that your follow-up question contradicts to her previous response.
I don't think so, Mr. President, unless you know all the entrances by heart. But if you have a look at your laptop, maybe, Madam Witness, and look at your entrance 1968 in your Excel sheet. And there you can see that this particular document is being used, among others, for listing Hing Sokom. Maybe it will be helpful if you look at your list 675. Have you found it?
I still cannot locate it.
Well, to prevent further problems, we have a number in your Excel sheet you made. It's entry number 1968 for a prisoner named Hing Sokom, and as a source for this particular person being a prisoner, I understand that you have used E3/10398. My question is, why have you used that document?
Allow me to clarify again. In my list, that is for serial number 1968, the name is Hing Sokom. Am I correct?
Correct.
However, in my list, it seems that I do not refer to this particular document. And second, I examine these documents that you provided to me, and that name does not seem to appear on this document.
I'm not sure where things go wrong, but let me revisit the issue after the break and I'll move on.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think the problem may be that the witness is using her original version, so she's looking at a list that probably only has the DC CAM numbers on it. So the DC CAM number for what is E310398 is D14825. So I think perhaps it might be necessary. I know that we created a version of the list where we added E3 numbers, but it may be necessary for this purpose that you council reference both the DC CAM number, because then she'll be able to see that in the list.
I'm not sure if I follow, Mr. President. We have been using these Excel entry numbers all the time, and these are unique numbers. They are running from 1 till 15,102. So I presume that if I refer to the Excel entry number, that should be very clear to the witness, because she made that list. Or if I'm wrong, please inform me.
The problem is not the number of on the OCI J list; it's the E3 number. You asked the witness whether she used E3/10398. She's looking at a list probably that only has the DC CAM number, so she doesn't see that E3 number, E3/10398. She sees
that's not correct, because I gave her a physical copy. I gave her a binder with physical copies, so she actually has it in front of her. I mean, she's not disputing the fact that she has that physical document in front of her.
You're still, that's not, in looking at her spreadsheet, you asked her whether she used that in her spreadsheet. Her spreadsheet only has, I'm guessing the one she's looking at only has the DC CAM number, not the E3 number of the document.
Council, the Kusampan team was so kind to provide me a DC CAM number then, D14825. Oh, it's my team, sorry. Maybe that will help. D14825. This doesn't change the fact that it is still puzzling, Mr. President, why the witness doesn't have the unique entry numbers of the Excel sheet.
Allow me to respond. I did not refer to this document when I found his name. First of all, I refer to the list of the incoming prisoners. As for this document, his name appears on the document which was handwritten. So it means that his name already appeared on the incoming prisoners, and that is why I added his names to the list. And in this list, it also mentions that his document was made, that is, he had been interrogated. And there were 11 copies, but what I want to say is that I refer to the initial documents, that is, documents that mentions that he entered S21. As for this document, it is handwritten by a staff at S21.
Or so you assume.
Can I intervene? Is there anything beside the fact that this name appears on this document that makes you believe that this document was created in S21 between 75 and 79? Or is the only indication this name, which is corroborated by various other documents?
ទី1
First of all, I relied on his existing names of the incoming prisoners. Second, regarding the layout of the person who registers the prisoners. In addition, the columns which were prepared and which is consistent with the typed column, that is the names, the surnames, and the position, as well as the number of documents regarding a particular prisoner, or the documents refer to what he answered, and that is based on the documents that I examined. President, thank you. It is now convenient time for a short break. The chamber will take a break now and resume at 10:30 to continue our proceedings. Court officer, please assist the witness at the waiting room reserved for witnesses. And please invite the witness and the legal officers to the courtroom at 10:30. The court is now in recess.